For years, I neglected social media. I just saw it as a place people showed off, a vanity game, a place where people flexed their success instead of actually helping others. But I was wrong. When I finally got over myself and got out of my own way, I started to treat Instagram as another way to serve my audience by sharing valuable educational content. My account grew from less than 300 followers on Instagram to nearly 100,000 in under a year. And here's the best part. You can do the same. I know this because my account stagnated for like 8 years. I didn't do much with it. And once I applied what I'm going to teach you today, things changed tremendously. So I'm going to show you exactly how to grow on Instagram, even if you're just starting out totally from scratch. A lot of people think it's either too late to start on Instagram because it's so crowded or that it's dead, but it's not true. Instagram is still one of the most engaged platforms for business. Reels are still the fastest way to reach new people organically, and your ideal customer is already scrolling on Instagram. It's your job to make sure that you show up on that scroll. And fortunately, the algorithm on Instagram has changed a lot recently to favor great content. So even if you don't have a huge following, if you create something that people like and want to see, it will be shown to other people regardless of how large your following is, which will then increase your following. But here's the mistake most people make. They use Instagram to get attention instead of giving value. Once I flipped my mindset and started posting content that actually helped my audience with mini lessons, insights, actionable tips, my engagement and followers grew quickly. Don't post solely for attention. Post to help and growth will follow. Now, don't get me wrong. You do want to be able to grab people's attention with your videos, but if it's just attention and it's hollow, there's nothing to consume, people will scroll quickly. So you want to grab their attention and then give them incredible value. So here's the exact system I use to go from 300 followers to nearly 100,000 followers and how you can do the same. Number one, post every single day, even if you can, sometimes twice a day. The months I post 50, 60, 70 posts a month, things really start to grow. The thing is that Instagram will reward consistency because you're adding content to their system. And the bottom line is you can't expect growth if you post when you feel like it. You have to have a system where you're creating content and posting it on the regular. Before, I was just posting, I would say, at best once a week, twice a week. I would post pictures from an event. I would maybe create a short reel or video that I shot while I was walking from the gym. And it was just not pro. I wasn't really organized. It wasn't intentional. Now, if you go to my Instagram account at Omar Zenhom, you'll see that all the content that's there is super intentional, super created for my viewer, and I understand that I need to deliver value and it has to be consistent. So take a look at how many posts I'm posting on a consistent basis. It makes a tremendous difference. So what kind of content works in 2025? Well, number one, short reels. So we're talking about reels that are around 30 seconds. You want these to be quick, punchy, valuable. Next are carousel posts. These are like step-by-step breakdowns or maybe like a blog post broken up into different posts that people can scroll through. Now, these don't perform as well as reels, but they still have value and people really love them. And they're worth doing to break up your content on your Instagram feed. And then lastly, single image posts, simple, engaging, shareable. Try something personal, maybe an experience you had, maybe a trip you went on, maybe when you were on stage at an event. These things really resonate with your audience because it feels like you're being vulnerable and you're opening up. One of the biggest growth levers you can try is mini lessons. These are in the form of carousels. These are practical, value-packed. So say, for example, you have a blog post explaining something or a podcast episode or a YouTube video. Just break down the content in that video into different steps that you can explain on a carousel with images. So people can swipe through and learn as they go. These are very shareable types of posts. Number two, hook people in the first 3 seconds. I'll be honest with you, it took me forever to learn this because as a consumer of content, I like long form, slow types of content, books, long movies. I'll watch TV series. I like long podcasts. So for me, I didn't really understand the value of the hook. I'm already kind of like bought in. I'm listening to this podcast. I want to watch this video. I don't really need the hook. But a lot of people do need the hook on social media, especially people that love to scroll through content. So the first 3 seconds of your reel will determine whether people scroll or stay. I would say even less than 3 seconds, but 3 seconds is the max. The first sentence you utter makes a big difference. And you want to make sure you capture people's attention. Now, listen, you don't want to be clickbaity, but you want to make sure that you front load the value or the aha moment at the top. So you could actually just give them the light bulb moment, the sentence that's like the biggest takeaway, and then explain it after the hook. Also, the first sentence of the caption of that post is important. It determines if people are going to read the caption or keep scrolling. If you're an absolute beginner when it comes to crafting a catchy hook to get people's attention, let me give you a few that you can start with. Most people are doing this wrong. Then continue. Here's another example. You'll never grow on IG if you keep making this mistake. Gets people curious. What is this mistake? Next one. Here's how I went from 300 to 100K followers in under a year. Once I started using strong, curiosity-driven hooks, my reach tripled. When I look at my dashboard analytics inside of Instagram, I am shocked how much those hooks make a difference. Here's the bottom line. If your content doesn't grab people's attention immediately, it won't matter how good it is. And this is kind of sad in my opinion. I actually am upset about this fact, but it's the truth. I can't get around it. I got to grab people's attention first and then deliver great content. So I know that I have a lot of great content in my archives that never got watched because the hook was lousy. So don't let your great content go to waste with bad hooks or no hook at all. Number 3, engage like a human. Engage as much as possible. If somebody writes you a comment on a post, reply. Reply to every single comment that you can. You may want to just dedicate some time to do that, maybe, 30 minutes in the morning once a week. You don't have to reply immediately, but even if you just reply a week later, it makes a difference. If you get new followers, DM them and start a conversation. Say, hey, thanks for the follow. What made you interested in my content? Another little thing that I found helps is to comment on other people's accounts in your niche. So say, for example, you're in the fitness space, go to other fitness experts' posts and comment, give value, give encouragement. If you are a positive member and a contributor to the community, people will notice and will check your account out. I used to post and leave. This is a bit of a mistake. So I set aside 30 minutes a week just for engaging on Instagram. And I like to do it on my computer. I just do it. I know the desktop app isn't so great or the desktop on the website, but I just do it because I don't want to be on my phone and type. I just kind of take 30 minutes and engage with other accounts and type away. Number 4, treat Instagram as a business funnel. Remember, followers don't pay the bills. Customers do. So how do you get them to be customers? Well, the first step is to get them on your email list. So your whole goal on Instagram is to give great content so that you can then say, hey, join my newsletter, opt into my freebie, take my free course. And then they get on your email list and then you can nurture them, give them more value, and then deliver some offers that they'd be interested in. This is why a lot of people that do this right on Instagram have calls to action on every post, like follow for more or DM me for a guide or a free resource, link in bio, right? Lead people to a link in bio. I like to have just one link in my bio and not a link tree because I want to just get everybody on my email list. And that link is to a waiting list or some sort of opt-in or some sort of freebie. And you can test things out. You can change that link over and over again to see which actually converts the most. Now, we haven't talked about Instagram stories, but you want to use Instagram stories to maybe do Q&A and start some DM conversations with your followers. You could actually run polls in Instagram stories too, so that you can learn a little bit more about your audience. Once I started directing my followers to some of my free training, my opt-ins, my guides, I saw a direct increase in my email list, and therefore I have a direct chance of increasing my revenue because the larger your list is, the more of those people will buy from you. And you don't need millions of followers to do this. Before we wrap up, we got to talk about something important. What you should stop doing on Instagram. Stop posting once or twice a week and expecting growth. That's just not going to happen. I found that when I just exponentially increased my posting consistency, it made all the difference. If you want to see growth, I say at least 10 posts a week. Stop focusing on aesthetics over value. Yes, it's good to be polished and look professional, but make sure the content, the hook, all that stuff is valuable first. And stop chasing vanity metrics and focusing on engagement and conversions. Good to have followers, good to have people liking your posts. But remember, the whole point here is to get these people that are living on Instagram to go over to your website and get on your email list. Here are my final thoughts. Here's what I've learned in the last year. Growing on Instagram is possible, even if you're starting from scratch. Secondly, you don't need luck. You just need a system. And lastly, you don't need viral videos. You need consistency. The thing with consistency is that the more you produce, the better your content gets. But first, you need to get out of your own way, just like I did a year ago. If I never changed my mindset about social media, I would have missed out big time. I would have missed out on growing my audience, making connections with my potential customers, growing my email list, and just growing my business in general. So if you're ready to start growing, implement what I share with you today. If this episode helped you in any way, the best thing you can do, the best thank you can give me is to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube. And feel free to share it with someone who needs to grow their Instagram in 2025. I'm Omar Zenhom, and I'll see you in the next episode.